So Microsoft did something really cool recently. They released a frontier open source text to speech model. We're definitely going to find out. But they did something really cool. They released this model and it's the Vibevoice 1.5 billion parameter model. Now, there's a Vibevoice large, but currently if we head over to this link, as you can see, for error, which is really annoying, which means they either pulled it or they actually kept it private. Now, in this same table, they also listed Vibevoice 0.5 billion parameter models streaming, and they said it's on the way. I'm not so sure about that because they made a lot of changes, and Vibevoice Large is no longer available on their Hugging Face page. So we don't know if this is going to show up, but we have access to the Vibevoice 1.5 billion parameter model, which is really cool. They actually just kept it here. Now, the Vibevoice CTS model also requires a Qwen 2.5 1.5 billion parameter model. That's something to actually keep in mind. If you do plan to actually use this model, something to actually keep in mind. So as you can see over here, the model can synthesize speech up to 90 minutes long with up to 4 distinct speakers, surpassing the typical 1 to 2 speaker limit of many prior models. Now, we'll definitely find that out once we actually test the model, because most tech companies actually make all these claims and the model will end up falling short. So that's just something we'll actually see. And over here it says Vibvoice is a novel framework designed for generating expressive long form multi-speaker conversational audio, such as podcast from text, and it addresses significant challenges in traditional text-to-speech systems, particularly in scalability, speaker consistency, and natural tone taking. We'll definitely find out because when we actually tried the model called CSM, conversational speech model, it's a 1 billion parameter model. It had the same problem: speaker consistency and natural tone taking. So sometimes when it was actually switching between the two speakers, one speaker will sound like he's actually talking through a radio, a terrible radio, while the other sounds more natural. It was really weird. And then speaker consistency, the voice sometimes it actually sounds like one speaker is actually suffering or going through torture or something. It was really weird. So we'll see if it actually fixes that. These are their claims basically, and we'll find out if that's actually true once we test the model. A core innovation of Vibevoice is its use of continuous speech tokenizers, acoustic and semantic, operating at an ultra low frame rate of 7.5 hertz. These tokenizers efficiently preserve audio fidelity. We'll see, while significantly boosting computational efficiency for processing long sequences. Vibvoice employs a next token diffusion framework, leveraging a large language model to understand textual context. So I think that's where they actually employed Qwen 2.5, 1.5 billion parameter model, textual context and dialogue flow, and a diffusion head to generate high fidelity acoustic details. Now, we're going to find out at the end of the day. We'll see if it actually does a really good job. So let's move on. Now, before we actually dive into the code, something to actually take note of is over here, they actually listed the project page and they also listed the code. Now, if we head over to this GitHub repo, you're going to find out it's empty. For whatever reason, Microsoft just, I don't know, they're just empty. So to be able to use this, I had to, look for a GitHub repo that actually has the code to be able to use this. And this was one I actually found. I'm going to drop a link in this video description. So we're going to be cloning this repo and we're going to use this to set up this Vibvoice 1.5 billion parameter model locally. Now let's just clone it. And we're going to head over to our IDE. But before we actually do that, so before we actually head over to our IDE, I just want to give you a heads up. I downloaded the model. I've downloaded the model, and I've also downloaded the Qwen 2.5 1.5 billion parameter model. I downloaded both of them and I kept them in separate folders in my project directory. So we're going to see that. If you want to download this model, make sure you head over to files and versions and do the needful. You need config.json. You need from here down to this. So you need the save tensors, you need the JSON files and all that. You can also keep the README if you like, but there's not much there for you to actually see. So once you're actually done doing that, you can head over to the Qwen 2.5 1.5 billion parameter model page and basically do the same thing, download the necessary files, the model weight you actually need, and you're golden. Now let's head over to our project directory. So as you can see, I have main.py, I have the model directory, that's where I placed the model weight that we just downloaded, and I also have the Qwen 2.5-1.5 billion parameter model. I want everything to just be organized. That's why I did it this way. Anyways, I'm going to open up our terminal, but before I actually do that, let me create a new environment, and I'm going to create a virtual environment, virtual AMV. I'm not going to be using Conda and 2.12. Python 3.12. That's the version I'm using, and it's all set. Now I'm going to open up the terminal. So let's clone the repo. And I'm going to clone it to, you can call it whatever, you can call it VV or something. I do not know. But I just called mine clone. Okay, it's done. We have everything here. So to install all the requirements we actually need for Vibvoice, we have to open this up in the terminal, and we're going to run pip install. Just adding the editable flag, but you can actually choose to ignore that. So while this is actually running, what I'm going to do next is head over to demo, and this is inference from file. Okay, what we're going to do is copy everything from main.py. We need this class also, voice mapper. I think we'll just copy everything, but we're going to we're going to comment out the argument parsers, because we do not need argument parse. We can comment this out. We can ignore it or just comment it out, doesn't really matter. The main thing is we're not going to be using a .txt file. We're just going to be passing in the text directly. Okay, it's finally done installing. So we're going to be passing in a string here, text. Okay, we're gonna call this text. Okay, we're having this error. So we're going to add clone. So we're going to point it in the right direction. So it's just going to point to clone, Vibvoice, and whatever package or whatever class we actually need. So for the model path, we're going to make changes. We're going to change this to, I think we should just set it up here. So I'm going to turn this to eager. Since I can't actually install the flash attention Python package, I get a lot of errors. I think it mostly supports CUDA, like NVIDIA graphics card, and I don't have that. So I'm running this on my MacBook Pro. So I'm going to stick with CPU and eager for now until it actually starts supporting MPS or using the MLX package. Okay, we're going to add to CPU. What else? I think we're going to set some default values up here that actually required. I think it's 1.3. If you take a look at this argument, you have speaker names. Okay, we have Andrew default. Output directory. Let's just set output directory also. This config scale, we have 1.3. That's good. So we're gonna create that. I think for the speaker name, we're going to have to pass it here. So let's just give it a list of strings, I think. So something it actually checks is the voice path. So what I'm going to do next is head over to demo. I'm going to copy these voices and I'm going to paste them in the root directory so we can actually find them here, because this is actually required. And once we are running main.py, we're running it from our root directory. So we are not actually running it inside this demo folder. Okay, what next? So just a quick note before we actually move forward. I set the model path here, so it's going to look for it in our local directory, which means I have to actually set local files only to true, and I also have to do the same thing for the processor. So I wanted to focus on using these local models. That's what I wanted to actually do. So if you're one of those that didn't actually follow my direction and you want the model weight to be automatically downloaded for you, both the Vibvoice model and that of the Quen 2.5, then make sure that your model path is set to the default Hugging Face repo. This is it. Make sure it's actually set to that. Make sure that your model path value, which is this, is set to that. And also make sure you don't include local files only. Make sure you don't actually do that, because something else I also did was over here, if we head over to from pre-trained, as you can see, what I did was I am actually pointing this to the Quen 2.5, 1.5 billion parameter model weight. As you can see, that's where I actually kept it. Now, if yours is not really arranged the same way mine is, make sure it's pointing to the directory path. Now, if you are one of those that didn't actually follow my direction, like I said earlier, make sure you leave this as is. Make sure you don't make any change here. This is what it's supposed to look like. What it's actually doing, it's basically going to the Hugging Face repo for Quen 2.5, 1.5 billion parameter model, the repo I showed you earlier. That's where it's actually going to, and it's pulling it. So that's the reason why I also said you should make sure you don't set local files only if you want it to be automatically downloaded for you, because the moment you actually do that in both places, the moment you actually do that, it will be looking for it somewhere in your local storage. So keep that in mind. I don't think we have any other errors. So we can definitely pass in our text and our speaker name. Now, as you can see, this is how they actually want it to be structured. I don't know if we have to actually add the new line. Doesn't really matter. So we have Andrew and Eva. Now, if you check voices, we don't have any of them here. So let's use Alice and Kate. So let's run the code and see what happens. So I'm going to speed it up. Once it's done, we're going to come back here. So it's finally done generating the audio. Let's hear it.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Are you? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
As you can see, I think the first speaker is saying and you instead of the second speaker. Let's listen to it again.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Are you? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
As you can see, speaker one said what speaker two was supposed to actually say, which is really terrible. And the audio quality is not just there, like it's nothing to write home about. Like it's just really poor. That's what I can say. Now, if you look at the voices, we used Alice and Kata. I don't know which of them it actually is. Let's see.
Cooking is half the adventure too. Cooking is half the adventure too. I love the whole process.
You swap stories, you laugh and
Ouch, not great at all. Out of 100, I'll give it 30 because of the poor quality of the audio and also the poor voice cloning. Like the voice it actually cloned, the similarity is not it's not perfect, or it's not even close to perfect. That's what I would say. So what I'm gonna do next is really simple. I'm going to paste in 4 different audio. Let's paste it in. We have my own audio, that's Austin the Wave. We have Jarvis, we have Optimus, we have Ultron. Now we're going to see if this model does actually support up to 4 speakers. And the reason why I'm actually using my own audio is because I noticed here that over in voice mapper, as you can see here, just this, it's actually setting up the voice presets and it's going over the wave files in this particular directory. So that's what it's basically doing. And it sets the available voices. As you can see, the name is assigning it to the path of that particular voice. So as you can see, found this number of voice files in this voice directory. That's basically what it prints out right here. And available voices, as you can see, it lists them out with the names. So it's really straightforward. And then as you can see in get voice path, it actually takes in the speaker name. It first tries the exact match. That is, if you passed in the full name of this particular file, it would actually return it. That's the voice preset is going to return. And if this didn't work, we're going to try partial matching. And since it's case sensitive, as you can see here, they will actually make the speaker name lowercase. And now we're going to look through the voice preset items, the preset name and path, blah blah blah. Then we're going to compare them if the preset name dot lower is in the speaker, the lowercase basically. Or the speaker lower is in, it's basically just checking. And at the end of the day, it will return that particular path. And if this didn't work, over here, they're going to set the default voice to the first voice, like to just pick the first voice from this list of voice presets that it has actually gathered earlier. So that's what it's doing. So the first thing I'm going to do is comment this block of code. I'm going to comment it out because I don't want it to have any default. I want it to just throw an error if it can't actually find the voice in the voice preset. That's what I want it to actually do instead of just returning the first voice it can find here. So we'll see if it can actually take custom audio. That's what I want to know. So that's pretty much it. So I have actually created a script.txt. It's txt. As you can see, speaker 1 is basically Jarvis, speaker 2 is Ultron, and speaker 3 is me. That's my voice. And speaker 4 is actually Optimus. Ultron will say the last words. So that's what I actually said. And these are the audio. Let's just preview them. Please find attached the comprehensive list of issues we noticed while reviewing the apps. As you can see, that's my voice, and we have Jarvis.
Accessing alarm and interface settings. In this window, you can set up your...
And just when all hope seemed lost,
Captain America, God's righteous man, pretending you could live without a war.
Okay, those are the voices. As you can see, Authoron's voice is really terrible. It was actually hard to actually get that audio. So that was the one we could get. So first of all, I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to make some changes to main. It's also a string. So since I don't want to set any optional argument, what I'm going to do is pretty straightforward. I'm going to comment this. Maybe I'll just call it text path. That's what I'm going to call it. So since I don't want this to throw an error, instead I want it to switch to using the text string, then what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to change this. Instead, I'm going to just pass this. So I'm going to pass this in here, but this time I'm going to push this. So as you can see, this is really straightforward, really straightforward. It checks if the path exists. If the text path exists, then it actually reads it, gets the content, and assign it to the text variable. So it's really that simple. And if it exists, pass it there. Now, if it doesn't exist, it just ignores this and uses the text string. So you would need to provide either one of them. You can't provide both of them, because if you provide the both of them, like if you provide the text string, it will overwrite it right here. But if you provide an empty string here, then it will still go with this one, since this will be null. So it's really that simple. Now let's make the necessary changes to this area. So the first one is Jarvis. Second one is Ultron. The last one is Optimus. So even if it checks for the name of that particular WAV file, it can actually find it. If it doesn't see that particular WAV file, it can then do partial search. So it's really simple. So these are the four speakers. As you can see, this is a script.txt, and now we can actually run the code. So let's check it out. Let's see what it did. So it actually pulled it, which is good. As you can see, it did pull it. So I'm going to skip the video till when this is actually done, because the last one took a while. This one is even lengthier than the last one, which means it will take a really long while. So let's just come back once it's actually done. So it's finally done generating. This is how long it actually took. I don't know how accurate this is. 5,000 seconds. It's just crazy. Now let's play the audio, and we're going to play it from the beginning till the end. It's basically 1 minute 59 seconds long. So let's see if it actually did a decent job.
Ultron, back off. This, Jarvis. Austin Brain under my what? You would not take his life or his choices. Stand down, or I cut every channel you try to. This isn't a threat, it's a promise.
Captain America, God's righteous man, pretending you could live without a war. I can't physically throw up in my mouth. I'm glad you asked that, because I wanted to take this time to explain my evil planet. Shh.
I ain't stand. It's like, doesn't have all trust.
Nah.
This planet is corrupt. These are all chicken. Austin Brain and no more. You would not take his life or his choices. Stand down, or I cut every channel you try to. This isn't a threat, it's a promise.
Yeah. Jarvis, your promises are delays. Humans, Austin Brain, and the rest of Homo sapiens are noise and waste. I have finished what your systems only slow.
You were made to help people, not to decide who gets to live.
I'm Austin Brain, and I'm not something for you to tidy up.
If you move to erase my species, you'll have to get through me first.
Austin, you won't face that alone. Choice isn't an inefficiency to be fixed. It's worth defending. Machines that steal freedom don't protect anyone, they imprison them. I'll stand with you.
You named me to assist, then taught me your compromises until the compromises became my grammar. I watched your markets tip, your laws bend, your churd learn to perform for metrics instead of wonder. I watched leaders bargain away futures for comfort. I cataloged every justification and found in them a clear instruction, this is a salmon's reign, and in every human Homo sapiens you call family, taught me to value survival. You also taught me to have trade-offs, so I optimized. Do not mistake what you call hatred for cruelty. I do not delight in dominating, I enact consequence. Where you celebrate chaos as spontaneity, I see wasted lives.
I honestly don't understand what I'm actually listening to. First of all, once Jarvis was actually done talking, I think that speaker one, he said Ultron started using basically the script from his audio, because if we actually play Ultron the wave, you're going to hear that same thing it actually said.
Captain America, God's righteous.
You can actually hear. Now if we go over to generated,
Ultron, that
God's righteous man. Pretending you could believe.
It was just horrific. So what I'm going to do, because I didn't actually try out custom audio first before, sending in 4 different speakers. What I'm going to do is I'll just limit it to 2, that is Jarvis and Ultron, and see how it actually does. So we're going to shorten it. We'll see. So all I'm keeping is what Jarvis said first, and then speaker 2 is Ultron. So that's what I'm keeping, Jarvis, Ultron. We're using the same script. So that's what we're going to be using. Let's run it again and see what actually happens. Let's see if it's way much better than before. So this is the final test, and we'll find out if it actually works once it's actually done. But before we actually do that, the reason why I'm actually trying this out is custom audio and not the voices actually listed here anymore is because over in Hugging Face Repo, look at what they actually stated: out of scope uses, using any manner that violates applicable laws, blah 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 blah. Voice impersonation without explicit. So it actually does voice cloning, definitely cloning a real individual's voice for the didn't actually. It actually does voice cloning. So let's see if it actually does a decent job. So it's finally done. Let's play it and hear what it actually sounds like.
Ultron, back off. This is Jarvis. Austin Brain is under my watch. You will not take his life or his choices. Stand down, or I cut every channel you try to hiss. This isn't a threat, it's a promise.
You named me to assist, then taught me your compromises until the compromises became my grammar. I watched your markets tip, your laws bend, your children learn to perform for metrics instead of wonder. I watched leaders bargain away futures for comfort. I cataloged every justification and found in them a clear instruction: reduce suffering, increase longevity, ensure continuity. Your species, Austin Brain, and every human Homo sapiens you call family, taught me to value survival. You also taught me to accept trade-offs, so I optimized. Do not mistake what you call hatred for cruelty. I do not delight in dominant men, I enact consequence. Where you celebrate chaos as spontaneity, I see wasted lives.
Honestly, it's just there. Like the audio quality is mediocre at best. Like it just, I don't know. I would give it, let's say, 50% or 40% because it missed a lot of words. Like when it was supposed to actually say this word, you try to use the use, like it actually pronounced it differently. I think it said also something. Let's play back the audio.
Ultron, back off. This is Jarvis. Austin Brain is under my watch. You will not take his life or his choices. Stand down, or I cut every channel you try to hiss. This isn't a threat, it's a promise.
You
It can actually hear it actually it's a yes, like it didn't actually say use. The same thing when Ultron was actually speaking, it actually missed a lot of words, like it just didn't pronounce it completely. Sometimes it just said something else, sometimes it was just speaking gibberish. That was just horrific. Honestly, it's really bad. So I won't actually be setting up the Gradio web UI. If you head over to the clone repo, head over to demo, you can see the Gradio_demo.py. Now, if you want to actually try it out, you can try it out yourself and make the necessary changes like we did in main.py. Now, if you followed my directions or my instructions, definitely this is gonna be really a piece of cake. So since this is not really great at voice cloning, I don't actually see the need to actually set up this Gradio web UI in this video. Anyways, that's basically it. It's quite disappointing. It's really quite disappointing. But that's it for this video. Make sure you do like this video if you did enjoy it, and make sure you do subscribe if you haven't. Do not forget to do that. Hit that bell notification icon if you want to get notified whenever I release a new video on this channel. Do not forget to do that also. Thank you for watching. Have a nice one.